Hi. If I sound different, that's because I'm a little sick right now. I just wanted to say that the first half of this video that Max and I filmed got corrupted when I tried exporting it. So actually half of this video is missing. While we were looking forward to having kind of a brief summary of how the year was for us, it's okay that we don't have it because we still had the conversation, which we had talked about it before, but it was different sitting there and talking about it. It was good for us, whether or not you guys will get to see it or not. There's a couple things that I talked about in the first half that I don't touch on or don't really touch on in the second half, which I think is still important. So one of the things is that there's a couple phone rules on NET. One of them being that you can't be on your phone past 11 p.m. They have no way to really control that. That's just kind of on your honor. But if you get caught on your phone, your team leader or a teammate might call you on and tell you to stop. Another rule is that team members and team leaders are allowed to instate whatever rules that they think are going to be necessary in order for team life. Of course, this is with the permission of supervisors, but this can mean phone rules. So the amount of contact that you have at home might look different than another team's. You might have way more contact or you might have way less. It's up to the individual team to decide how much they need. So I only mention this not because it's bad, but because it became a pretty big thing on my team, and I thought it was worth mentioning in advance because I didn't know that was something that could happen. Where you guys are joining us in the video currently, we are answering questions that were asked on my Instagram, and the very first question is asking about communication and how did we communicate and how was communication in general. I'm kind of going off on a tangent when you guys come in, which is relatively unfortunate because I think I sound a little bit angry. I'm not angry. I felt like putting that out there. But I am popping off a little bit. Anyway, I'm really sorry for any inconvenience. I hope that this doesn't ruin the video for you in any way, and enjoy the video.
We have been advocating since literally the beginning of our relationship.
Yes.
And I advocate with every person I literally meet who's how do I communicate better? Communicate your needs, wants, and expectations. Mm-hmm. If you don't communicate that, the other person is not going to guess. Or if they do, they're probably going to guess wrong, and then they're not going to know how to care for you to the fullest extent. You're not going to get the care that you want. You're not going to get the care that you need. And they're not going to be able to live up to these expectations that you have that you're not talking about. Mm-hmm. And that's just not fair to you or to them. And the other thing is that there's a difference between vulnerability and transparency. That's something that you can take to your team. Talk when you're in your brotherhood or your sisterhood. There's a difference between being I'm mad today. That's that's transparency. And if I was I'm mad today, and you were okay, why? And I told you and that if I was open to advice, that's vulnerability. And so if all you're doing is being transparent with one another, that's good because you know what's going on. But it's hard to grow that way because you're not being vulnerable.
Did we answer the question? What was hard in communication, not being able to see each other? I think it was not being able to see each other, because communication we were doing either pretty okay or top notch. So the hardest thing was if we wanted a hug from each other, that was not possible because she was states away.
I agree.
Moving on. How is communication in general? We touched on this a little bit. It was good, inconsistent, could have been better if we were given more time to communicate. But
yeah, one thing that so I talked to them, there's a month of training that you do before you hit the road, because God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. One of the things when I was at this training, I was talking to somebody and I was is there anybody, this somebody was a NET staff, and I was is there anybody who I can talk to who has done NET and been in a relationship the entire time they were on the road and is now on staff? And they said no, which wasn't super encouraging.
No.
But it was the truth. And then I said, okay, well, like, do you have any advice for me? Like, how do we communicate? Like, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, the best form of communication would probably be to write letters. And I cannot disagree more, having now done NET. I think if you and I were interested in each other but not dating, letters would have been fine, you know?
Right.
But I would write a letter to you, and it would get to you weeks later. Or you would write a letter to me, and the way that NET does their mail is they mail it to the NET Center. The NET Center makes they get like a giant envelope, and they put all the mail in it, and then they mail it to you. And so sometimes it would be a month or more before I would get a letter. So...
Yeah. And, I mean, like, sometimes it would be like you get a bunch at once. Or one, and then, like, I mailed out 2 other ones, but they didn't get sent with that one package. So it was really weird.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't agree that communication is best
also,
via letter writing.
I think 1 or 2 letters of mine that I sent to her got lost. I don't know where they went. Because What?
Nothing.
Did you lose them?
Maybe. I can't guarantee that I didn't. It's hard to say.
I'm going to leave it up to the mail system that lost it. Because I feel bad blaming you. Anyway. Question number 3. How did you deal with each other's love languages while you were apart? Yay.
So, what are your love languages?
I think primarily for me, receiving is physical touch and quality time. Can it be 2? Okay. Physical touch and quality time, because I don't know about you, but I sure do like to spend time with people sometimes. So those 2 were hard because that's the exact opposite of long distance. So you can imagine how rough that is. But my giving love language is, I think, acts of service. I like doing things, especially if it benefits other people, because I'm just really cool, you know? So, like, I don't know, there was stuff that I could do, but it was all, like, writing letters was one, but I'm not the greatest writer, so that one was a little difficult, but I did it anyway because that was acts of service, so I had to.
It made me feel so good to receive a letter.
It was honestly, it's a treat.
It is.
So write letters to your friends.
It makes your day just like infinitely better.
Yeah. If it's a cute letter, you can just like even from a friend. It's fun. Anyway, do that. It's your homework. So for both of my love languages, it was difficult, but I don't know. What can you do? I just had to deal with it.
Yeah, you can't do much.
What about you?
So, my giving love language is physical touch, and my receiving love language is physical touch. It was hard. Next question.
Next question. What would remind us of each other while we were apart?
I have a solid. I think we might have very similar answers.
I think we do, because I think. Hang on, no, you just go ahead. Talk, please. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you first.
Cheez-It grooves in a gas station.
Oddly enough, literally the same for me. But after you told me about your experience with it, like it happened to you, and then it happened to me. Yeah.
Oh. That's
so
fun.
Apparently, okay. So we both tried Cheez-It. That was the first time you tried Cheez-It grooves with me. We both tried Cheez-It grooves for the first time with each other, and she saw them in a gas station. And I think, it hit you like a brick, I think. And it was like...
It was just like a wave of sad.
And I was with a friend of mine, and I went into a gas station to grab some food, and there was Cheez-It grooves. And I was standing there, and I was like... and it was after you told me about it.
I'm so sorry.
There were a lot of things, a lot of little things, especially. because I missed you. So I was like, dang, I wish I could show this to Rachel. Wow, I couldn't. Or like there was something, I don't know. So like a lot of things of small things, a lot of knickknacks reminded me of you.
The funny thing is, like, when we'd be like driving and I'd see like wildflowers on the side of the road, that always reminded me of you. Every time.
Kind of a flower pressing guy, so it's whatever. Yeah. Back to the questions. How did we keep in contact? Phones.
Yep.
Next question. Did aspects of our relationship need to change when you got back? I think they definitely, aspects did need to change, but I feel like that change kind of happened while you were on the road.
Yeah.
And they applied when you got back, because calling each other every single day, that needed to stop.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing that needed to change.
Also, calling each other until like 4 a.m. every day.
We were stupid.
Yeah. It needed to change, and NET kind of helped that change.
Because that was certainly not something she could do. So we both got better amounts of sleep as well.
Yeah, we still do.
We still do. Isn't that really cool? And we make sure that if we're on a phone call at night, it doesn't go past a certain time, because we're smarter. And
also tired.
And also, we're old. We're old people.
Yeah, my knees hurt these days. That's a good sign of being old. Okay, well, another thing that changed is like our curfews we've gotten way better with.
Yes. Yeah.
We have. Every now and then,
every now and then, but that was
hard.
important. Yesterday, it was important. We needed a late night walk.
Right. I think we're also now more aware of each other. And like more aware of like our weaknesses and like what we need in order to have a more like honestly healthy relationship. Yeah,
because I think like you breaking curfew and then we would just like sit, like it wasn't great, because independence is good and we just wouldn't want to leave, but like you have to get used to saying goodbye, so like you just for a short period of time.
And it's just not a very good example to to yourself or to those around you of like an adult relationship. Like it's very evident like that you're like in your like teenage like like, that's the sound of your teenage relationship.
That's what I did.
Yeah, that's what you sound like. Yeah, let's move on.
Oh, this one's easy. How long were you dating before NET?
4 months.
4-ish months.
I can't really compare. Chill out. I can't.
What was harder than you thought it would be? Kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think this coincides with the second question, or the question after this is, what was easier than you thought it would be? And honestly, for both of those questions, I would put the whole year.
Yeah.
Because it took 4 years each half of the year. But then once each half of the year was over, it happened in a week. So like
time doesn't exist.
It does not exist. It was really weird. Like it passed differently than normal, because then like you'd be like, it's over. Well, that's weird.
Yeah, I like look back strange. On it. I like was sitting on my porch like 2 days after I got back, and I was like talking to my mom, and I got like horrible deja vu, and I was like, Mom, I feel like I never left in the first place, and she was like, well, you did. And that made me feel better, because time just goes by, and so that's why it's really important to value it with your team. But also it's a long 9 months, so I would have moments where I needed to be alone, and then I'd feel bad because I was like, well, I only have so much time with them. Take the time that you need. Take care of yourself, but also be with your team. Know what you can and can't. Know what's going to stand in your way. Like, I gave up social media the moment that I got to NET, just because I knew that was going to be something that if I still had it, it would stand in the way of my team. What else was harder? Communication. I don't know. I for some reason thought it just, calling does not fulfill that hole.
No.
It will, like, fill it up, like, halfway, but it's still, like, it's draining rapidly.
Especially since, like, it was, in a sense, monitored.
Yeah.
And, like, kind of timed. So it wasn't like I have some downtime, let me call you, and then, like, you know, just whatever conversation, but it's like, okay, I have this amount of time at this, I have this and this, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, like, it was good, but also it wasn't the same as just calling you.
Right. It wasn't the same as a date. Even if I would call it a date.
But
also, calling sometimes was just hard. Like, I would call him and our energies just wouldn't match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes I would be less into it and he would, like, be having a great day, or, like, vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Mm-hmm. And that can be, like, things like that are set, like, handled way easier in person.
Mm-hmm.
But on the phone, it's kind of awkward. You can't really do anything because that person is so far away.
Yeah. There's also kind of, for me at least, there was this pressure of, like, oh man, this sucks. Like, I don't really, like, this phone call isn't going well. Like, neither of us are, like, vibing.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't know when I'll get to call him again, so I don't want to just, like...
So we endured.
Yeah, so we would endure it.
It's okay to be, like, you talk for a little bit and be like, I'm not in, like, a very fun place in my mind right now, so I'm gonna go to bed. Right?
Go to
bed early.
Go to bed.
It's I need to go to bed. Like, that's literally take a nap, go to bed. And if they aren't understanding of that, then, like, I'm gonna leave that up to you, Chief. But it's okay to kind of call short if it's hard. If it's hard to do, like, say, like, I can't talk for super long because I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I'm not vibing.
It's not you, it's me.
Oh, this one's fun. How did people react when you told them you were in a long distance relationship? So this one, you want to tell the story?
So Max babysits for families, which is really cool. And we were walking, and one of them, like, the mom of the kids that he babysits for met me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just, like, ran into them. And I remember she was like, "You're leaving for NET, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "How long are you going to be gone?" Like, she thought it was, like, 6 months or 5 or 6 months or something. And I was like, "No, it's 9. She was like, "You're going to be gone for 9 months." And I was like, "Yes." And I don't remember what she asked. I think it was just kind of like, "Are you guys nervous?" And we had, like, just had a conversation about how I was super insecure about leaving and, like, really nervous. And so we just kind of, like, looked at each other. We were like,
I was like, it's going to be all right.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of the first memorable reaction to me doing long distance. My family wasn't super supportive of me doing long distance at first, just because I don't think they'd ever seen anybody succeed at it.
Right, which is fair.
I was always the person. My friends would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to do a long distance relationship with this guy." I'd be like, "That's dumb. Don't do that. It's not going to work." Yeah. I was always that person.
The hater.
I was the hater, and then God pranked me. When I was on the road, whenever I would tell people that I was in a long distance relationship, I always would get the same kind of reactions. I would either get like a, "Oh, that's so cute," and then them, like, asking a ton of questions.
Right.
Or I would get like a, "Oh." And not in, like, a mean way at all, but just, I think there's this misconception that if you are in a long distance relationship, you're not giving everything to your team. Which...
It's a little twisted.
Which I just don't think is true. Like, I can still give everything I have to my team, but, like, I'm not gonna break up with you to do that.
Mm-hmm. Because I think the main thing is the people that you're with, like, on your team, they do more or less take priority. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's kind of just a given.
Because you're living with them.
Yeah, because you're living with those people. So, like, I was a second priority in that regard of whatever. So there wasn't like a huge dynamic of that.
What was it like for you?
For
Did you tell anybody? Did you have to tell anybody new that you were in a long distance relationship?
Not really. I haven't talked to them. I tend to be socially awkward, so I don't really make a lot of new friends. I think there was like one or two people that I like told or that I like talked about with, but
I was meeting hundreds of new people every single day, and so I got asked a lot.
Oh, this one's fun. Were you nervous I was going to cheat on you?
Yes. No, I wasn't. With the Walmart women. I definitely wasn't nervous, but I think it's because I know you very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you don't talk to people you don't know. People, before I left, they were like, he's gonna cheat on you. And I was like, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
No. Okay. One, I wouldn't. First of all. Two,
thank you.
I can hardly talk to a new person sometimes. So for me, it's weird because I knew you wouldn't because I know you.
Thank you.
But there's that weird voice in the back of my head that was mean to me. And it was like, what if? And I'm like, but no. But then there was always that little thing of like, what if? And it was like, I knew for a fact not. Because trust.
Thank you.
And knowing you. But my brain was stupid. So.
Yeah.
Nice. Good job. Heck yeah.
Did you cheat on me?
No.
That's good.
Thank you. I tried really hard not to. Anyway.
I don't think I've ever asked you that.
No.
It's really awkward.
I don't think so. Cut the cameras.
I'm sweating.
Okay, so last question is, what is something you have noticed changed about me in the past year? Was the change good? I'll go first.
Okay.
I don't, like, I've only got the one example, but I feel like you're a lot more comfortable with yourself. You know? You're a lot more confident and comfortable being yourself. And personally, I say that's good. I don't know about most people,
Okay.
but I think that's a good change.
Thank you. Thank you. I have seen you grow this past year. I guess specifically in you just like going out and hunting down life. Which is a really weird way to put it. But like
yeah, but I also like that.
Yeah.
So
just like going out and doing more. Saying yes to a lot more things, you know, instead of letting anything hold you back. You say yes more often and you do more, which is really interesting because you've always said yes and done a lot to begin with. I feel like you're your own person.
Right.
Which, like, I don't know, you always are your own person, but like I feel like you are more solidified in that.
Thank you. That was weak. That was a weak high five.
But I won't do it again because you know what's weaker than a weak high five? Doing it again.
It's true. No do-overs.
No do-overs.
Do-overs are for the people who eat gum off the sidewalk.
Is it really?
I think so.
That's our video. Thank you for watching if you made it all the way through.
If you didn't, you won't be hearing this.
Should be seeing this message. If you have any more questions for us, you can comment them. I'll respond, believe me.
Or find other means because, maybe.
Right. Good luck to those of you who are going to do NET this next year or in the future, or you're praying about it. Or if you did NET already and you were in a relationship or you stumbled upon this video somehow, hi.
Hey, what's up? I'm Max. You've heard that before.
Also, if you have any prayer requests, you can put them in the comments and I'll pray for you. It's pretty easy.
All it takes is a little bit of time.
All it takes is you commenting. Anything else?
Love you.
Any final words of advice or anything? I don't know. Date each other.
Communicate.
Yeah.
Date, communicate, exterminate.